Hey, how's everybody? Why are you all here? Shouldn't you be working? Yeah, right, just kidding. Great to be here. Good afternoon. I've had the great pleasure over the last couple days of spending a lot of time with the 14th Department of Energy Secretary Rick Perry. We've spent, I won't take away his thunder by saying what he saw and his observations, but we got to spend time at Naval Reactors yesterday as well as seeing a lot of the lab. I just want to thank everybody who participated. Did a great job. Thank you for that. But I'll tell you, got to spend a lot of great times, and I can tell you that I'm really looking forward to the next several years to work with Secretary Perry. Great man, great leader. As you're going to hear, deep commitment to the laboratories. So I think you're going to really enjoy the remarks. He was recently confirmed. Before that, he was the longest serving governor in Texas history. Long, illustrious career as governor and in public leadership. I'm also a veteran of the Air Force and a proud graduate of Texas A&M University, so he's an Aggie. There's probably a few Aggies in this audience, I think. But he did a lot of great things for the state of Texas that really bring him to this role as the Energy Secretary, really, really well qualified. You can see that he's a leader, somebody that we all want to work for and follow as we address these challenges that we're addressing. And also did a lot of great things for Texas, creating an energy future while creating jobs and doing it and cleaning up the air in the meantime. So there's a lot of reasons why the qualifications are long and immense for this man as the leader of this great department. So with that, I'm just going to be very proud and honored and privileged to introduce Secretary Rick Perry.
Dr. Peters, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, and it kind of looks like a Baptist church in here. It's kind of the front is open. We're not taking collections, so everybody just rest up. But thank you for your thank you for your professionalism, for your work, and thank you for your friendship. And it is the greatest job I ever had in my life. And no matter what I do, and this is no offense to any job that I've had or any job I may have in the future, the greatest job I ever had was being governor of the state of Texas. And I don't want anybody to ever take offense to that. But I'm telling you, officially, the coolest job I've ever had in my life is being Secretary of Energy. And it's because of these labs. I'm telling you that as I go and as I grow and as I become more edified in what all you do, it is one of the most fascinating places. And Idaho may be at the top of that list from the standpoint of just really making a difference. I think about that old saying, Ronald Reagan was a most interesting man. And Ronald Reagan had this quote that he talked about, that some people spend their entire lives wondering if they ever make a difference. And he was referring to United States Marines. And he said, Marines don't have that problem. And I think about what you all do and the millions of people in our country who daily may get up and say, I wonder if I make a difference. I wonder, is what I'm doing, is my life's pursuit really making a difference? You work at a national lab in this country, you don't have that problem because you're making a difference. I cannot tell you how honored I am to be associated with men and women who do what you do, have the potential to truly change the world on any given day. And that's not to say we don't throw a lot of Jell-O at the wall, and sometimes it doesn't stick. But that's okay. Mark and I were talking about why that is so important that in our country that we have these national labs that are going out there and scientifically experimenting, trying to find the next big thing. And you all are at the heart of that. You're at the center of that. I want to take a moment and say thanks to some people that aren't here that make what we do possible. One of them's the governor of the state. Butch is a friend who I knew as a governor, but he's also a person who's a real visionary. He understood that the state of Idaho and this lab and the relationship that has been formed here is really important. The $90 million that is coming from the legislature to create that new facility, dealing with cybersecurity and dealing with the next gen of supercomputing. That's visionary work that the people of Idaho, through their legislature and this governor, have the foresight to put forward. And as a matter of fact, Butch came through, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and we visited, and he was excited about me being able to come out and take a look at this. I want to share. We were coming in. We were flying out with the naval reactor, the head of naval reactor, Admiral Caldwell, and he asked me. He said, "Secretary, you ever been to Idaho before?" And I went, "Well, I have. It was in 1973." And I said, "I just finished pilot training, and they were." After pilot training, they send you through escape and evasion school. It happens to be at Fairchild Air Force Base, which is Spokane. And they give you a couple of days of classroom work, and then they take you out east of Spokane into that national forest in Idaho. And they turn you loose. And then they chase you for a few days. And then they capture you. And then they bring you back, and for about a week you spend at a POW camp, a mock POW camp. I said, I hope my second trip to Idaho was better than my first. And it has been. We had the opportunity to spend some time with your Congressman Mike Simpson last night. He is a champion, not of just this state, but of this lab. And of this country, because of what the work that this lab does, and he's truly he's a great and an interesting fella. We have a wonderful relationship that we're building here, but he is truly your advocate. He is there on a daily basis, making sure that this lab gets the recognition it deserves, making sure that as they fight for those limited dollars in Washington, D.C., that we get an appropriate amount of funding, if you will. And so he's an important person in this process. Obviously, your senators, Crapo and Reich, and what they do is equally important. So the point is, you got a good team in Washington, D.C. And interestingly, a lot of times people forget about that it's not just Washington. It's not just the congressional delegation and the senators and what have you, the governor, but it's also the local leadership. And I met your mayor last night. And Mayor Casper is truly a powerful advocate for this lab. The bulk of you, most likely, are her constituents, would be my bet. And again, Mark, is the National Lab the largest employer in Idaho? Okay, so it's up there. I knew it would be a major employer in the state, so it really matters. And in this city, I suspect you're by a long shot the longest or the largest employer in the state. or in this city, excuse me. And so the lab-related businesses, the vendors, a lot of times people get confused, or they don't understand this relationship that occurs. We work for government, and somehow or another, sometimes people get a little confused that that's somehow inefficient, ineffective, or what have you. And these national labs are great vessels that I like to use as an example of, you want to see your tax dollars at work in a really good way? You go to a national lab and you see the men and women that are working there. You see the effect that they're having. If you have a loved one or an acquaintance that's in the United States military, and the work that we do in our labs collectively, whether it's saving the lives of a young crewman on an Abrams tank because of the work that you did out here, then you figure out you make a difference. Every day, somewhere around the world, an impact is being made that somehow or another came out of a national lab. Economically, security-wise. This is pretty fascinating work. What the naval reactors do. I mean, when you think about America's role in keeping our allies safe, defending America's interest, and the work that's done at INL. And history's great stuff, and I'm a big, student of history. But the future is what's really important. And as we look out into the future, what our challenges are. When I think about the naval reactor side of it, when I think about the commercial, civilian energy side of nuclear energy, and where we find ourselves today, we got some challenges. Because in the last 30 years, and I'm not going to cast any aspersion or any blame, but the point is, the fact is, we got behind in this country. And what you and young people that you're going to recruit to come in here over the course of the next decade or so have the potential to change that trajectory in a very powerful and a positive way. Both from a national security standpoint. I mean, what you're doing out there, Mark, at the materials lab, making sure that we have the newest and the best. That's amazing potential that we have. Making nuclear energy be cool again, if you will, from the standpoint of young people. That's where I want to go. That's what we have the potential to do. And I suggest to you that's where we're headed, both from this administration's viewpoint and I think from this country's best interest, is to develop this extraordinary power resource with the scientists, the technicians, the engineers, all those vendors working together. I'm proud to be a part of that. The potential is extraordinary. And you all being a part of a $60 billion, 475,000 people industry is pretty cool. So, I had the chance to walk around in the Naval Reactor Facility yesterday. And the potential there, the work that's being done there, I hope to be able to spend some time with our friends in the United States Navy that are using technology that came from here that's keeping this country safe, making sure our allies know that we're strong. I happen to have a new son-in-law who's a naval officer. He's counting on us getting it right. And there's hundreds of thousands just like him all around the world. So my point with all of this is to share with you, yeah, it's cool work. I mean, you get to do some stuff that waters people's eyes. But it's also really important. So, as you leave out of here and you go home, you look in the mirror tonight, you don't have to worry nor wonder whether you make a difference. You do, and I'm proud to be on your team. God bless you.